For storytellers, there are two questions you should always ask when you are making your video or you're writing your story or you're making your movie, and that is the audience bored and is the audience confused? You got to make sure that neither of those are yes. You have to make sure that everything is 100% clear to the audience, and you have to make sure that it's not boring.
On December 4th, 1987, at about 2:14 p.m. in Texas, Rebecca Parham was born. And unlike every other Storytime animator that I've reviewed, this one has the most information out about her. I mean, she does have a full fandom page dedicated to her, which is a bit creepy. But moving on to more information about her life, she went to a private university, majoring in theater, and joined choir sometime after. And according to her Draw My Life, she said,
After a year in the theater department, I came to the cold realization that theater was probably not going to work out for me. So I talked to my parents about doing something different.
She then talked to her parents and they immediately agreed that she should go to animation college. Of course, she didn't automatically get in, as her portfolio was mostly consistent of fan art. So she took some classes, made an actual portfolio, applied again, and got into Ringling College of Art and Design. However, during her sophomore year of college,
I passed the first semester of sophomore year by the skin of my teeth, but the second semester, I failed my computer animation class, despite having given it everything I had.
And while waiting to take it again, she focused on her business minor. She then got back into the program and passed, all while aspiring to be a YouTuber. She graduated from Ringling College in 2013 with a BFA in computer animation and a minor in business of art and design. But for those of you who are not in college, not yet in college, or not going to college, then Skillshare might be for you. And this video is specifically sponsored by Skillshare. I mean, hey, it's better to find out what you're good at before you sink a college tuition into it. Skillshare is a fantastic online learning community of over 25,000 classes in business, design, and more. And currently, there are 2 classes that I've been hankering to take and look into that might be for you people. And they are 2D animation for beginners of Adobe Animate, and also Cinema 4D looping 3D animation for Instagram and Gift. And the first 500 people, Rebecca included, to use this link, get 2 wonderful, spontaneous, magical months of Skillshare Premium. And with an annual subscription of less than $10 a month, it's the most affordable service in its class. And with the knowledge you get from learning with Skillshare, you'll be able to make great content like me. But wait a second. For an animator who graduated from college, how's her content? For this section, let's just focus on her last year videos. And 15 of them were created, which is impressive for a Storytime animator who works by herself. However, it becomes less impressive when you actually look at the content that's there. The third video of the year is just outtakes of the previous one, meaning if she has a second channel, she does, she can just put it there instead of on her main channel. Moving on. The next video following that is a speed paint. The fourth video is a 1 million sub special with a music video, and that's great. It's always fun to have a music video on your channel. Except for the next video right after it is just the music video by itself. And since that music video is already in the 1 million sub special, you'd think that she would just put it on her second channel along with her outtakes. But like her other Twitter page, her second channel is mostly abandoned.
Please let me explain.
But finally we get to another Storytime video. And then immediately after that, she makes an update video that she claims you wouldn't let me delete, which is another video she could put on her second channel since it's an update for an event that already passed. Thankfully, sooner than later, we get another Storytime animation with a guest. And the 2 videos that proceed after it are her VidCon trip videos, which, after watching it, I wouldn't recommend as it's not really too entertaining. Well, unless you like watching videos and going, oh look, a YouTuber I know. Oh look, another YouTuber I know, which we'll get into later. And then we have this video here that's wonderfully animated. Oh wait, never mind, it's an advertisement. Then we have another speed paint video that later turns into an advertisement, considering she's selling this print on her store now. Oh boy, look, another advertisement. 3 in a row. And finally, we get into another Storytime video. I'm sure Hope it was worth that near 4-month wait. And another near 3-month wait for her newest video. How charming. What is not charming was when I watched this video where she talks about Kid President.
But then this kid came up behind me and started smack-talking me. You suck. Why are you so bad? It's such an easy game. I was getting kind of annoyed by this kid.
A simple story that I never batted an eye to until she addressed it in another video, where she says,
Kid President came up behind me and started smack-talking my bad gaming skills. Now, one of the principles of animation is exaggeration, and that means pushing poses and facial expressions and emotions past realism to create more entertainment value, visual appeal, and contrast. But in my attempts to be an effective animator and exaggerate the emotions for entertainment's sake, I think I portrayed Kid President in an unfavorable light.
Now it's nice that she apologized and clarified on the situation, but this removes some credibility from her work as she just told her audience that she sometimes exaggerates her stories, meaning that parts of her story might be fake. Case in point, while researching her content, I came across a storyboard as well as an animatic of an unfinished cartoon that she would later make into a fully finished video. But just like in the past and in the present, every character you see in the video is voiced by Rebecca.
There weren't any reviews at all.
Petty details. Listen, if this place is no good, we'll just go down the street to the next store. Welcome to Boondock Self-Storage. My name is Agatha. What do you want? Ruff. Ahem. Yeah, what do you need? I have a truck.
Considering how Rebecca mentions that she loves behind the scenes in animation, it was odd to me that she didn't mention, even briefly in her video, that she previously tried making this animation. Moving on, if you hear her voice, you can definitely tell that she's had some theater experience.
You ain't dragging me down with you, sister. Peace, adios, sayonara, das vidanya, bonsoir, and all those other different languages. Consider this my final bow because we're done here. Thanks for the memories. You'll make a great YouTube video someday. Bye-bye.
Whether I found her content funny or not reminds me of when I reviewed Cypher Den, as when binge watching her content, I saw that I had another video to look forward to. I said,
oh boy, I can't wait to watch more of this.
Which is a big contrast, as when I binge watched Rebecca's content, I said,
oh boy, I can't wait to watch more of this.
So if you want even less protection from the elements, then go right ahead. I'll be over here in the thermal tent that I wear around my waist.
Unlike other Storytime animators that I've reviewed, this one doesn't draw mouths. And it's fine, since it's a stylistic choice. However, my problem with her style is that the characters tend to blend in together. What separates most of her characters is basically different pants, different shirt, new person. One of the only noticeable changes she does is the hairstyle. And if I took the hair away from these characters, could you tell them apart? However, in her newest video, she has shown that her art style is capable of handling different character models. But due to her working by herself, she'll probably rely on the base model design, as it's easier to animate. Also, in every character, they share the same eye format. Most likely because Rebecca doesn't want to make new character assets, so she just uses a reference that she made earlier and just keeps using the same eye holes. However, the only notable time she draws eyes differently is either when the character is crazy or Asian. Speaking of different, take a drink whenever you see a famous YouTube animator in one of her videos. I'm mentioning this as whenever she draws a famous YouTube animator in her style, she just doesn't draw it in her own style. My guess is that she goes out of her way to draw these animators in their own or near own style, so the comment section can go, "Oh hey, I know that person. I like this video now." And she reserves the privilege of drawing YouTubers in her own style, only for live action people. Which is kind of appalling when in scenes like this, and you see YouTube animators and YouTube people together in one shot, drew James as a small impish boy, with everyone else being normally heighted. Also, can you point out the other famous YouTuber? No, not him. I mean that guy. But what isn't appalling is her backgrounds. Kind of. Each video she has a base backdrop with things either placed in the foreground or the background to show space. If we focus on her newest video and other videos, you'll notice that she uses one singular color throughout it and sparingly uses full colored backgrounds. My issue with this is that because she uses one singular backdrop in each video, it's kind of disorienting when you change from one scene to another, a narration bit to a story bit, and it's theoretically the same considering you're still using the same colored backdrop. To improve on this, she could use a singular backdrop as normal, but instead in each different scene she can slightly change the hue and saturation in the color she used, as it can make a big difference in each shot. Lastly, in terms of her animation skills, I have no gripes with it, considering that she works alone. I mean, when you attend college for animation, you pick up a thing or two. But she also attended theater at a university before animation college. Now, how does that affect her content?
Free your mind, man. The imaginary audience isn't real. The world is not what it seems. Wake up. The Matrix has you.
Unless she can fit a famous YouTuber in the title of her video, she voices everyone herself. Now, I wouldn't mind this if she had a better voice range besides her voice, but in a high pitch, low pitch, or just doing a vague accent. Here's a few examples.
Expert sleuthing skills, my explainers.
Whatever, let's just get this over with, Richard.
Girls! She did it! My name is Bubblegum. My family moved into the kitchen next door.
Fire and brimstone preach or something to talk about, if you know what I mean. Lord, save us from—
It's called ASMR.
Hey, that's not fair. It was an accident. Every kid gets to break.
You! Take out that nose ring! You know they're not allowed!
Oh, hello, Rebecca. You have a good day, sweetheart. Hey!
Unlike other storytellers whose content works so well in the narrative storytelling that you could actually listen to them as a podcast alternative and still get the gist of what they're saying. However, with Rebecca and her insistence that she voices everything, not only the characters blend visually, but also auditorially. On a side note, back when I reviewed Tom Ska, I actually found this video.
1965! Apples and pears! I've got black lung!
How are you? Pounces on you.
Drink bleach, or I will fuck your dog!
And I found out that Tom Ska's a pretty good voice actor, and Rebecca and Tom know each other, so I personally wouldn't mind if she got Tom Ska to do voices here and there for her. But if you don't want Tom Ska in your video for whatever reason, you could just have smaller animated channels in your video. If you've been keeping up with Rebecca's content as I have, you'd know that she was friends with Danebo, Jaden, and Tom long before she got famous. And sorta used them to become famous herself. So as a big channel, that's one small little tiny way you can help the community that helped you get to where you were at. I mean, I did that. Thank you for voicing my video. Remembering that she was in theater, I was thinking more about her performance on screen. And I'd consider her a narrator rather than a voice actor, considering that most of the characters she plays on screen is herself. I believe she thinks she's a good voice actor because the people around her are not giving her proper direction and character motivation, and they're good for whatever take she gives them, as they want to put that featuring Rebecca Parham in the title of their video. So when you surround yourself by yes men, then you're as good as you think you are to other people. On another note, Rebecca can sing.
I've been staring at the edge of the water.
In fact, she mentioned before that she used to take singing lessons and is classified as a mezzo-soprano in terms of vocal range. But why am I mentioning this? Because of the two microphones that she uses. As Rebecca owns a Blue Yeti and a Rode NT1A. And the biggest difference between them is that one of them is USB and the other is XLR based. Comparing the frequency response of both microphones, you can see that the Yeti is missing a lot of lows and highs that might be in your vocal range.
I'll never meet the ground.
And looking over to the NT1A, yep, covers the full range of human hearing. So if you're doing voice acting or singing, you kinda want the option for the full range. Man, I really hate to think that Rebecca's only using a Blue Yeti because she saw that other YouTubers are using Blue Yetis, and she said, well, if I'm gonna be like them, I gotta use what they're using. Keeping in mind that she bought a Blue Yeti in 2014 and bought a Rode NT1A in 2015. And if you look closely, you'll notice that she uses both of them to this day. For some reason. And for people looking for a decent XLR mic setup, then go watch this video. And the best part about an XLR mic setup is that you can just switch out the microphone or audio interface at any time. And for my mic setup, I use the Ceremonic UW Mic 9 lavalier mic set. And I used to use a Blue Snowball microphone for my desktop and voiceover stuff until I switched to the Rode NT1 kit. I keep wondering why she still uses the Blue Yeti. I mean, she probably doesn't use a fancy audio editing software like Adobe Audition, so she must just want a very simple and rudimentary way of recording her voice without putting too much effort into post-processing, so she's probably using the free program known as Audacity.
I've been recording all of my audio on Audacity lately, and I edit everything together in Premiere Pro.
If you're starting off, I would recommend Audacity as it is a free software. But if you have the money and you seriously want to go into voice acting or podcasting of all things, then I would recommend finding something else. Like one of these programs. Be careful of the price. And if you want to learn about any of these programs, you could use Skillshare. I think I have a link for that. I like to talk about YouTuber merch in these reviews as it fascinates me. Despite selling well enough, I always wonder who's actually wearing this outside of conventions. Conventions being VidCon of the sort. Case in point is Rebecca's merch and dice, as her first set is a limited edition Halloween set consisting of a sticker pack, shirt, pen, cobweb sock, and a print that was mentioned before. Noting that I bought the pin in March of this year. Her daily merch consists of a lanyard, enamel pin set, shirt, and hoodie. And the second tier of limited edition merch is a glow-in-the-dark ghost shirt. But why am I specifically mentioning her limited edition between her daily merch? Well, because on March 8th in 2019, she made a video that promoted her ghost story merch, and it went by as the first product on her page to ever sell out. On October 5th in 2018, Rebecca released this video promoting her Halloween merch, limited edition. And by the time this video releases, her Halloween merch will have been on sale for about 5 months and 18 days. But why am I bringing this up? Perhaps people were more in tune with her ghost story merch, as it doesn't feature her character. Which reminds me of a tweet that she once made that people were complaining that she was a ripoff of James and Jaden. And she mentions below that the bigger you get, the harder it will be to change your style because of branding. Noting back to her merchandise sales, I don't think people would bat an eye if she changed her art style a bit. Now that's a 2-for-1 joke sale on her merchandise sales. Ahaha. Also, it's not that limited edition considering she brought the merch back. Right after graduating from Ringling, her dad helped her file an LLC for her channel name, Let Me Explain Studios, meaning that she holds the copyright to it. And ever since she graduated college in 2013, she has been working in a studio for a while. And the first visual appearance of it on her channel can be seen on February 11th, 2015. As with the studio tour about a year later, if you match up the walls, you can see that she has been working at the same studio for at least a couple years. And throughout the video, I kept mentioning that she works alone, comparing her to James and Jaden, who don't have physical studios, but still employ people. They get help from anything from editing, animating, backgrounds, or just coloring. Kinda weird she's missing out on one of the key aspects of owning a studio, that being employees. And I find it odd, one's out, that she has a studio considering it's not really a financial benefit. I mean, noting it back again to James and Jaden, they work out of their home and it doesn't seem to be affecting their work that much. And if you look at her studio, it's pretty small actually. So much so, we can probably fit her studio in one of the Odd Ones Out's rooms. But whatever, at least it's not hindering her work, right? But going back into why she hasn't hired anyone, perhaps she hasn't found anyone good enough to emulate her style for her that she feels comfortable animating with. But it might be high time to look at someone to hire if there's a significant dead time between your uploads. I mean, even I get help with these videos, as I pay someone to do the music and I get help writing these scripts. The music is produced by Crystal Claude, and this video script was written by me and Ishmael in That Creepy Reading. A triple threat. On another note, in terms of getting help, Sugar, like me, has noticed that Storytime animators form teams to up their quality, and even herself contemplating to hire someone to help her with her videos. And I think that's a pretty swell idea. I mean, she is busy with animation college and still wants to give quality content to her fans.
So getting help and acknowledging you can be better with other people is a good thing. Hip hip hooray for teamwork.
I started planning this review sometime last year. However, my co-writer and I just couldn't sit through her videos. Of course, I know we're not her target audience, but whenever I talk about someone, there has to be something interesting for me to mention, or something to learn, either for the content creator's benefit and or the audience's benefit. And it may have taken a few months, but I think we got a few things to talk about. And the first thing we found was that just because you graduated from an art school doesn't mean you're perfect. She's human like the rest of us, so I mean, it's obvious that she'll make a mistake once in a while and that it's okay to give criticism for her art. Content. And I believe right now she's a bit too prideful to get assistance or making her work better. And if you're a fan of Rebecca, you want quality content from her. Probably without the long wait. And if she gets assistance with their work, she doesn't have to upload these filler videos. And I'm sure as a fan of Rebecca, you love watching her speed paints instead of her storytime videos. So hopefully Rebecca watches this video and takes some notes. But only time will tell. Oh, my friends recommended that I should probably promote my Twitter, Discord, Redbubble, and even Ko-Fi to you guys. And so come on down to those websites if you want to see more me. But until next time, thank you for watching, and have a good.
Creativity is a careful balance between being proud of how far you've come, but also knowing you need to keep pushing for better. If you get too caught up in one way or the other, you fall off the tightrope.